It started as a normal Saturday night. Rachel and her husband, Daniel, had been planning a cozy evening for weeks. After the chaos of juggling work, parenting, and everyday responsibilities, they finally had the house to themselves. Their two kids were spending the weekend with Daniel's sister, and Rachel had made sure everything was just right. The lights dimmed, candles lit, and a playlist of soft, soulful music humming in the background. Rachel had even cooked one of Daniel's favorite meals, and after they ate, they poured themselves glasses of red wine and settled into the couch. It felt like the early days of their marriage all over again. There was laughter, playful teasing, and long conversations about nothing and everything. Just as Rachel was about to suggest they head to bed early, there was a knock at the front door. She and Daniel exchanged surprised glances. "Who could that be?" she asked. Daniel shrugged. "No idea." He got up and opened the door. Standing there were their neighbors, Eric and Vanessa, both holding a bottle of wine and grinning like teenagers. "Hey, sorry to drop in uninvited," Vanessa said. "We just opened a bottle and thought you might want to share." Rachel and Daniel hesitated for a moment. They had been looking forward to a quiet night together, but they didn't want to be rude. Plus, they genuinely liked Eric and Vanessa. They had moved in 6 months ago, and over the past few months, the couples had shared a few dinners, game nights, and casual chats over the fence. Rachel smiled. "Come in. We were just relaxing." The four of them settled on the back patio. The cool spring air made the wine feel even smoother, and before long, conversation flowed naturally. Vanessa was witty and outgoing, while Eric was laid back with a sharp sense of humor. The hours slipped by as they talked about work, relationships, and random memories from their youth. At some point, the topic drifted into romance and relationships. Vanessa leaned forward and said, "You two seem like you're still really into each other. It's rare to see that after so many years." Rachel chuckled. "We have our moments, but yeah, I guess we are." Eric added, "You really do. I mean, you've got that spark. It's kind of inspiring." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Inspiring, huh?" Vanessa sipped her wine and said, a bit more slowly this time, "I guess we've always been a little curious about how couples like you keep that flame alive." Rachel wasn't sure what she meant at first. There was a pause. The air felt suddenly different, heavier, electric. Eric cleared his throat. "Would it be too forward if we said, we'd be interested in watching how you two connect? Like really connect?" Rachel blinked. "You mean watch us?" Vanessa nodded. "Only if you're comfortable. No pressure. It's something we've talked about before. Just observing. Respectfully." Daniel looked over at Rachel, trying to read her reaction. She was stunned, but also curious. The idea was shocking, certainly unconventional. But it wasn't threatening. Eric and Vanessa weren't pressuring. They were simply asking. The four sat in silence for a few moments. Rachel felt her heart pounding. She leaned in toward Daniel and whispered, "We should talk." They excused themselves and walked into the kitchen. Rachel leaned against the counter. "This is insane." Daniel nodded. "Totally. But also, kind of flattering? I mean, they weren't weird about it. Just honest." She looked at him seriously. "Do you think we could even do something like that?" "Only if we set the rules. And only if you're okay with it." Rachel took a deep breath. There was a part of her that was intrigued, not just by the idea, but by the boldness of it. After years of routine, maybe a little mystery wasn't such a bad thing. They returned to the patio. Rachel spoke first. "We're not saying yes. But hypothetically, if we were open to it, we'd need boundaries." Vanessa nodded immediately. "Of course. No touching. No interfering. Just observing, and only for tonight. We decide when it ends." Eric and Vanessa agreed. What followed wasn't something out of a movie. It was real, emotional, and strangely empowering. Rachel and Daniel didn't perform. They were simply themselves. In their own space, sharing a connection they had built over years of love, fights, compromises, and understanding. Knowing they were being watched didn't make it less intimate. It made it even more intentional. When it was over, they quietly parted ways. Eric and Vanessa left with respectful goodnights and promises not to speak about it unless Rachel and Daniel wanted to. The next morning, Rachel and Daniel lay in bed, the sunlight streaming through the curtains. She turned to him and said, "Did we really do that?" Daniel laughed softly. "We really did." Surprisingly, there was no awkwardness, no regret, just a strange kind of peace. Like they had stepped outside of the box they'd been living in and returned stronger. In the weeks that followed, they saw Eric and Vanessa during walks or neighborhood gatherings. There was no tension, just a shared understanding that one night, something unusual had happened, and it had left everyone a little more aware of who they were and what they wanted. Rachel and Daniel never repeated the experience.
It wasn't about that.
It was about rediscovering that their connection was still very much alive, even under the most unexpected spotlight. That night didn't change who they were. It reminded them. They were still explorers, still partners, still each other's favorite story.